everybody, thank you for joining me today. So today we're using this Operation Write Home sketch number 198, and you can pause here to get all your measurements. And if you're wanting to add mats how I am, just add 1/8 of an inch to the measurements that you see really written here on the sketch. That's one of the reasons why I like using the Operation Write Home. On here, what I'm showing you is what I did was I cut the cut aparts out of the frame that they kind of have them set up on. So then that way I can make it closer to the size that was listed on the actual sketch for kind of like the focal image. That's where I always think of the focal image going. And then I'm putting it onto a mat that's probably a little bit bigger than 1/8 of an inch. This is probably more towards 1/4 of an inch as far as the measurements for your mat pieces. Now for the base, I'm doing for my black piece, it's 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and then the pattern paper going on top is 4 by 5 1/4. And I know a lot of times people always wonder why I use both the art glitter glue and the ATG tape or the tape runner tape. And it's mainly because it gives me a little bit of room if I need it to be able to pull it up quickly and move it around if I needed to get it more even. Because I know sometimes I have days where things just seem to go a little bit more crooked than others. So for this piece, I did decide to put on a mat because for me, I think some of the layers, when you mat them, it gives the card front, I think, a little bit more beefiness, like a more finished quality to it. If you do decide not to mat your pieces, that's fine. I would just suggest that you definitely ink your edges with something that stands out, so that way it'll provide separation between your pattern papers. Because sometimes, if pattern papers are really busy, sometimes it's hard to separate them, to make them stand out on their own. So I'm putting a little bit of tape on the back, cutting my ribbon, and I'm gonna tape that down. And I don't worry about over taping it or making it super secure, only because I know I'm going to attach it with the art glitter glue as well and attach it straight to the base, so you don't have to worry about any of the pieces of the ribbon actually unrailing or unrailing. Sometimes doing these voiceovers, words just disappear. But what I do is I make sure not to glue down on the front of the card, because what I'm going to do is when I go to tie my knots or make a bow, I like having that ability to kind of move my ribbon to the spot that I want it and be able to, create the knot or bow that way. And if you're worried about it being secure, then once you have it done, you could put a glue dot or something like that beneath the knot or the bow, whichever way you decide to go. So another tip with the bows or the knots is to make sure that you kind of tie it with the way that your ends are facing the direction that you want it to lay permanently. Because if I were to have pulled it sideways, then it would have been more horizontal, and I like my ends going with the vertical, how I have it on here. So you just watch when you see other people doing it. It definitely, the direction on where you have your ends does matter when it comes to your bows and your knots. And then on the very side here on the blue, because I figured it would stand out more, I'm putting down the white Nuvo drops. Which one is this? This is the crystal drops, and it's simply white. And I think it gives just a nice little finish. And I did the one card with no sentiment, and on the other one I used the one that said "for you." So the one without the sentiment, we can use it for a birthday, really anything, just because, thinking of you, whatever, if you want to send someone just a bright cheery card to kind of make their day. So thank you guys for joining me. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and share button. And of course, at the very end, I will have links to previous Friday sketches. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great weekend.